The restaurant buzzed softly with the chatter of families, the clinking of cutlery, and the comforting aroma of freshly baked bread. At a corner table by the window, Thomas Langford, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the city, sat quietly, his sharp blue eyes fixed on his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. In a world where business deals and luxury defined his existence, Lily was his only connection to something pure and untouched. Born with cerebral palsy, she couldn't run like other kids, couldn't speak more than a few broken words. Yet her smile could light up an entire room, and her laughter, rare and precious, was the music Thomas lived for. It had been a long week for Thomas, balancing meetings, hospital appointments, and the endless loneliness that followed his wife's passing 2 years ago. Tonight, he had promised himself he would just be dad, no briefcases, no phone calls. Just him and Lily, and maybe a plate of spaghetti she would barely touch but laugh at anyway. As he tucked a napkin around Lily's neck and adjusted her chair, he noticed a young waitress approaching their table. She couldn't have been more than 22, her dark brown hair tied into a messy bun, her uniform slightly worn at the seams. Her name tag read Emma. There was a warmth in her eyes that wasn't forced, a kindness that didn't seem like part of her job description. "Hey there, sweetheart," Emma said gently, crouching to Lily's level. "Are you ready for the best spaghetti and meatballs ever?" Lily giggled and clapped her small hands, and Thomas felt a lump rise in his throat. It wasn't often that people took the time to see Lily as more than just her wheelchair. As Emma took their order, she spoke to Lily, not over her, asking questions, making silly faces, and even sneaking her a tiny breadstick. Thomas watched, his heart aching with gratitude, and something more complex. He had seen so many people either pity Lily or ignore her altogether. Very few treated her like the bright, playful spirit she was. Minutes passed, and the restaurant grew busier. A live band set up in the corner, playing soft tunes from a small stage. As the music floated through the air, Lily's eyes widened. She reached out, her fingers dancing in the air to the rhythm. Emma noticed instantly. Setting down her tray, she whispered conspiratorially, "You like music, don't you, princess?" Lily beamed, and without waiting, Emma did something no one expected. She twirled in a little circle, right there between the tables, exaggerating every move. Patrons chuckled, a few smiled indulgently. But Thomas sat frozen, watching Lily's face transform with pure, unfiltered joy. Emma extended her hand and said, "Come on, let's dance." Thomas opened his mouth to intervene, worried, protective, but stopped. Emma wasn't asking Lily to get up. She was dancing with her, right where she sat. Emma spun, tapped the chair lightly, clapped her hands with Lily's tiny ones. She matched her energy, making her feel like the star of a grand ballroom. For the first time in months, Lily's laughter rang out, bright and loud, making heads turn. Tears burned Thomas's eyes, and he looked away, pretending to adjust his cufflink. He hadn't seen Lily this alive, this scene, since before her mother had gone. When the music ended, Emma bowed dramatically, and Lily mimicked her. The room erupted into soft applause. Emma grinned, high-fived Lily, and went back to work, her cheeks flushed from the impromptu performance. Thomas stared at his daughter, her cheeks pink, her smile wide. A memory floated into his mind, his late wife, Sarah, singing lullabies to Lily, whispering, "Don't let the world tell her she's less. She's made of stardust, Tom. Don't ever let her forget it." The meal ended, and Thomas paid the bill, leaving a generous tip. But something gnawed at him. A check wasn't enough. He didn't know what he wanted to do yet, but he knew Emma had just changed their evening, and maybe more. Later that night, after Lily was tucked into bed, Thomas found himself searching online for information about Emma. It didn't take long. Small-town girl, grew up caring for her disabled brother who passed away 2 years ago. Working 2 jobs to put herself through nursing school. No fancy degrees yet, no social media posts begging for attention. Just quiet, earnest hard work. Thomas leaned back, stunned. She hadn't danced with Lily out of charity or pity. She understood. The next morning, Thomas called his lawyer. 2 weeks later, Emma received a call that changed everything. She was exhausted after a double shift when her phone buzzed. "Hello?" she said, her voice cautious. "Is this Emma Reeves?" the voice asked formally. Yes. "My name is Rachel Carter. I represent Mr. Thomas Langford. He was dining with you recently. He would like to offer you a full scholarship for your nursing degree, including living expenses, textbooks, and anything else you might need." Emma nearly dropped the phone. She stammered, "There must be a mistake. I didn't do anything." "You danced with his daughter," the voice said, gentler now. "You reminded a little girl, and her father, what joy feels like." "No, Miss Reeves. This is not a mistake." Tears blurred Emma's vision. She slid down the wall of her small apartment, clutching the phone like a lifeline. For years, she had juggled dreams and survival, always choosing the latter. Now, someone had seen her heart, and without asking for anything in return, they had given her a chance to breathe, to dream fully. A few days later, Emma met Thomas and Lily at the same restaurant. She didn't know what to expect. A formal thank you? A handshake? Instead, Thomas stood up, his suit jacket sharp but his expression soft. "You gave my daughter a moment she'll never forget," he said quietly. "And you gave me something too, hope. I lost it somewhere after my wife passed. You reminded me that sometimes, the smallest kindness is the greatest thing you can give someone." Emma wiped her eyes quickly. "I didn't do anything special." "You did," Thomas said. He knelt beside Lily's chair. "And we would like you to be part of our lives, if you want. I know you're studying nursing, but we could use someone like you. Someone who sees Lily the way she deserves to be seen." Emma choked on her answer, nodding fiercely. From that day forward, Emma became more than a waitress, more than a student. She became part of a new family. She helped care for Lily, finished her degree with honors, and eventually became Lily's private nurse, friend, and biggest cheerleader. As for Thomas, he realized that money could build skyscrapers and fortunes, but it was moments like a waitress dancing in a crowded restaurant that built life. Years later, when Lily took her first unsteady steps in a specialized exoskeleton, it wasn't just Thomas standing there with his heart bursting. Emma was too, her hands ready to catch her if she fell, her laughter and tears mixing freely. And Lily? She laughed as she always did, bright, defiant against the odds. Dancing even when the world expected her to sit still. Because of a waitress who chose to dance when no one else did. And because sometimes, love isn't built with grand gestures, it's woven through the small, brave choices we make when we think no one's watching.